Your next cell organelle is on ribosome. So ribosome is the universal cell organelle. It is known as universal cell organelle as it is present in case of both prokaryotes and eukaryotes. So it is known as universal cell organelle, and it is the only cell organelle which is present in case of prokaryotes, as we know that the other type of cell organelles are absent in case of prokaryotic cell. Now these ribosomes are always involved in the synthesis of proteins. They are always involved in the formation or manufacture of proteins, hence it is also known as protein factory of the cell. And since this organelle is also present in case of mitochondria and chloroplast, this is also known as organelle within organelle. That means one organelle, that means the ribosome is present within the another organelle, that means the mitochondria or chloroplast. Now these ribosomes are granular structure. So these appears as granule, hence they are granular structure, and was first observed by George Palade in the year 1953. So except in case of RBC, they appear in all type of mammalian cells. So except they are absent in case of RBC, and other than RBC they are present in all types of cells. Now these ribosomes always appear in the form of two subunit. One is the larger subunit, other is the smaller subunit. So you can see the lower one is the larger subunit and the upper one is the smaller subunit, and these both subunits come together only during the synthesis of proteins. So during synthesis of protein, both of the subunits come together and they get attached to one another with the help of magnesium ion. So with the help of magnesium ion, they form the ionic bond between the two subunits and they get attached. So these ribosomes in case of prokaryotes and eukaryotes are different, and they are always they are always measured in the terms of Sedberg's units, which we write as S. Okay, so like you have seen, in case of prokaryotic it is 70 S, it is in case of eukaryotic it is 80 S. So S is the Sedberg unit or sedimentation rate. I have written, you see, S equals Sedberg unit or sedimentation rate, which indirectly is a measure of density and size of the ribosome. It actually measures the density and size of the ribosome. Now if we see the types of ribosome, there are two types. In case of prokaryotic cell it is 70S type, in case of eukaryotic cell it is 80S type. So this 70S type consists of the larger subunit as 50S and the smaller subunit is 30S, and in 80S the larger is 60S and the smaller is 40S. So these subunits mainly composed of ribonucleic acid, that means the RNA and the proteins. Now if we see the composition of RNA and proteins in case of 70S, it is in case of 70S it is 60% rRNA and 40% protein, whereas 80S consists of 40% rRNA and 60% protein. That means the whole ribosome mainly composed of RNA and protein only. So the components are RNA and protein, just it differs in the amount in case of 70S and in case of 80S. Now next is polyribosomes or polysomes. Now what is polyribosomes or polysomes? So poly means what? Many. Now see, at the time of protein synthesis, so when protein synthesis takes place, several 70S ribosomes gets attached to the mRNA. So see, the lower subunit, in the lower subunit there is an attachment of the mRNA. Now what happens, during protein synthesis, many ribosomes come together. Okay, the many ribosomes come together and they form a chain-like structure where the lower smaller subunit holds the mRNA. So the lower subunit holds the mRNA and the larger subunit has an enzyme called peptidyl transferase enzyme, and these together polysomes helps in the synthesis of long chain of amino acid to form the protein chain. Okay, so that means what? Ribosomes are always involved in the formation of protein. These polysomes also forms a protein chain or a peptide chain with the help of peptide bond. Now this larger subunit, which consists of the enzyme peptidyl transferase, they helps in forming the peptide bond between the amino acids. Okay, so between the amino acids, they helps in the formation of peptide bond. So this is known as ergosome, polysome or polyribosomes. That means chain of ribosome is the polyribosomes or polysomes. So remember this. Okay, so that is all about ribosomes. Next topic is cytoskeletal structure. So as the name suggests, cytoskeleton means it acts as a skeleton for the cell. Okay, so it acts as a skeleton for the cell, and they are generally the proteinaceous structures that acts as a skeleton for a cell. So see, an elaborate network of filamentous proteinaceous structure present in the cytoplasm is together known as cytoskeleton. Okay, and the main function of these cytoskeletal structures is to provide mechanical support. So they provide the mechanical support, then motility of a cell, and also it maintains the shape of a cell. Now there are different types of cytoskeletons or cytoskeletal structures which are proteinaceous in nature, and number one is microtubule. So first one is microtubule, and they consist of the protein called tubulin. So that means the monomer, or you can say the main component of microtubule is tubulin protein, and they are found in the cytoplasm. That means the matrix of a cell. And they also occur in case of cilia, flagella, and in prokaryotic cells, these microtubules lack. They are absent in case of prokaryotic cell. Okay, and this main function of microtubule is that they help in spindle fiber formation or astral rays formation. You will get to know in the cell division chapter what is spindle fibers and what is astral rays. So these are the actually fibrous or proteinaceous structures that pulls the chromosomes on the opposite poles. Okay, so just you remember that during cell division the spindle fibers are formed from the tubulin proteins. Then it also helps in formation of cilia, flagella. They gives the shape and rigidity to the cell. Then it also helps in intracellular transport of nutrients. That means from one cell to another, they helps in the movement of the nutrients and some other ions. Okay, that means intracellular transport. And it also helps in the formation. In case of plants, they are always associated with cell wall. So in case of plants, cell wall is present, and these microtubules are always associated with the cell wall, and this microtubule helps in the formation of the cell plate. That means about cell plate you will get to know in cell division chapter only. So cell plate later on forms the primary wall or the cell wall, and this cell plate formation is a result of the microtubule. That means microtubules are also involved in the formation of the cell plate. Okay, so next is microfilaments. Microfilaments are always found in case of eukaryotic, same in prokaryotic they are absent, and they mainly composed of the protein called actin. So actin is a contractile protein that helps in muscle contraction. So this forms microfilaments always forms an extensive network in the cytoplasm, that means in the matrix of a cell, and they are associated with the plasma membrane. Okay, so like in case of microtubules associated with cell wall in case of plant cell, here microfilaments in case of animal cell, they are associated with plasma membrane. So they always provide support to the plasma membrane. They are contractile in nature, that means this represents contractile system of a cell. They also helps in pseudopodia formation. So pseudopodia, you know, the false leg. So they helps in pseudopodia formation, and also they helps in cleavage furrow during cell division. But now cell division means that cell division is as a result of division of the cytoplasm. So in case of animal cell, the cytoplasm divides by the mechanism known as cell furrow method, and these microfilaments helps in cell furrow during cell division. Okay. So third one is intermediate filaments. These are the non-contractile filaments. They are acidic in nature but are non-contractile in nature. They are always involved in the formation of chromatin. Chromatin means later on condensation they forms the chromosome. Okay, so just here you remember intermediate filaments are the material for the chromosome. So these intermediate filaments, they form the chromatin, and also they form basket like structures around the nucleus. So they form basket like structures around the nucleus. That means they will later on form the they are the materials for the chromatin reticulum, which will later on form the chromosome. So these are the skeletal structure of a cell. That means these are the structures that provide the support, motility and shape of a cell. Next is cilia and flagella. So these cilia and flagella, as you know that they helps in motility of a cell. They provides motility to a cell. So these are the microscopic structure, but they these cilia and flagella are the microscopic hair-like structures that are that initiates from the cell membrane of a cell. Okay. So though cilia and flagella both helps in motility of a cell, but they can be distinguished from one another, as flagella are little longer than the cilia, and flagella are less in number as compared to the cilia. And these flagella mainly they are present at the anterior end of a cell, whereas means towards the anterior end only flagella are present, whereas these cilia are they are uniformly arranged, or they are the cilia are present throughout the surface of a cell. The flagella, they can beat independently, means they can one or two flagella, like a single flagella can also beat independently, but cilia, when they beat, they always beat in a coordinated manner. That means all the cilia will beat together at a time. So this is the difference, main difference between the cilia and the flagella. This cilia, small structure, they work like oars. That means oars of a boat. Okay, so they work like a oars. That means they beat in a coordinated manner. So they helps in movement of a cell or the surrounding fluid. The main function, that means the cilia function is for the movement of a cell and also surrounding the cell, the fluid it has, the fluid present. So it helps in movement, mainly the motility or the movement. Now if we see the ultrastructure or the structure by under an electron microscope, the cilia or the flagella appears in this way. So they appears in this type of structure. So you can see the structure. That means these cilia flagella mainly consist of microtubular composition. That means microtubular are the fibrillar composition. Okay, the fiber like structure, and they always remain bounded by this plasma membrane. This is the plasma membrane. They are always surrounded by the plasma membrane, and this plasma membrane encloses the matrix. So inside matrix is present, and this in the matrix only the watery like substance only they are embedded. That means the cilia or flagella are embedded. So these cilia and flagella always appear in 9+2 arrangement. So this 9+2 arrangement, why it is called so, I'll explain here. You see, I'll explain here now why it is called as 9+2 arrangement. See here in cilia and flagella, two single doublet structure. Okay, two single. That means see, this is one, this is the other. Two singlet structures are present at the center, made up of microtubule. That means the tubulin protein made up of microtubule, and in the peripheral part, that means these are the peripheral proteins. Here doublet structures are present, which are 9 in number. That means 1, 2, 3. There, if you count, it is 9 in number, and hence they are arranged in the form of 9+2 arrangement. So in the center there are two tubulin microtubules which are singlet, and peripheral there are doublet structures which are 9 in number, and hence they are called as 9+2 arrangement. So these subfibrils are these subfibrils means the peripheral proteins are named as A and B. Okay. So they are known as subfibril A and subfibril B, and this arms of subfibril A always directed in clockwise direction. So in clockwise direction it is directed, and one doublet is connected to the other through these arms. Okay, through these arms, which are made up of dynein protein or dynein arm. They are known as dynein arms. These are also proteinaceous structures. See here, these are the inner dynein. These are the inner dynein, and the other is the outer dynein. So they are always arranged in clockwise direction, and these singlet, which are connected to the bridge, are enclosed within a central sheath. So central sheath encloses this central microtubule. These two are the central microtubule, and together we call it as core, which is known as axoneme. So this is known as axoneme, and this axoneme is connected to this peripheral protein through radial spokes. These are the radial spokes through which it is connected to the peripheral protein. So chemical composition, if we see, the main composition, as I have told, it consists of the protein tubulin, and arms A of microtubule contain the protein dynein. Okay, so arm A of the microtubule consists of the protein dynein.